whenever our intention is imbued with loving kindness, there will be right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Concentration is the proximate cause of insight, of understanding, and the proximate cause of concentration, that is gladness, conditioned by non-remorse. And the precondition for non-remorse is evidently speech, action, and livelihood that is preceded by the intention of loving kindness. Loving kindness is not a specific Buddhist feeling. It's a universal feeling. It's a universal emotion. In Christianity, people call it neighborly love. We call it loving kindness in order not to get mixed up with some Christian associations. But it is the same feeling. Roughly speaking, there are two kinds of love. Of course, there are many kinds of love for another level of understanding, but there's the kind of love that is mixed up with desire. Like in an erotic relationship, there's this kind of loving kindness and condensations with desire. But this is not what we're concerned with in our meditation. We are concerned with the loving kindness at the other end of the scale, that which is completely free from desire, and that which is unconditional. When there's desire, there are always conditions. You get love on those conditions, whereas the undiluted loving kindness is unconditional. It asks nothing for itself. It is just, it's an outward movement towards the object of the love. And we start out meditating, doing the meditation, developing the meaning of this intention by meditating on various dear persons from our personal life. And the one who, to an exceptional degree, is useful to start the meditation on is the so-called benefactor, also called the primary dear person. It is a person you have a history together with about unconditional and desireless love. And such a person could be a parent, could be a child, could be a dear brother or sister, or just a dear friend. Could also be a dear grandparent or dear uncle, dear auntie, anyone in the relationship to whom you have experienced this unreserved and unconditional love. Which makes it easy for us to get into the contact with the meaning of the intention of loving kindness when we repeat it directed towards the visualization of that person. So actually we start out with this very dear person and get into contact with the meaning of repeating, developing this intention. And then in the meditation we'll do now, we go on to direct the intention towards ourselves. And then afterwards we will direct the intention towards the category of so-called ordinary dear persons. That is, any dear person from our life, any person we have this feeling for, to a certain extent, any extent. And the scope, the developmental scope of the meditation is that you go on meditating on a neutral person, somebody. When you visualize the person, it doesn't activate any feeling of benevolence in you. And then you go on to visualize a so-called hostile person, a person who for one or another reason activates negative feelings in you when you visualize the person. And we don't start out with this person. We don't start out jumping in at the deep end. we reserve this kind of person to the end. So maybe we will not do a meditation on a hostile person today, but later on this retreat we'll do that. And the dynamic of the meditation is that when you, so to speak, go cold in the meditation, repeating the intention towards a visualization of a person, and all of a sudden it is not giving you any meaning. You sit down, you repeat the intention, may you be free from suffering, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, and so on. And it is not giving any meaning. Then you go back and visualize the very dear person or the benefactor. And in order to get into contact with the meaning of the intention, and when you've got the meaning, you go back to the person you had difficulty with and embrace the person with the meaning of the intention. And mind you, the criterion for the success of this meditation is actually not a warm feeling of love and kindness. You will experience that, but in the beginning, a criterion for success is to get into contact with the meaning of the intention, that it is giving meaning to you. And you have to develop your own statements you are repeating as intentions. The standard intentionality, and it's actually a thought of love and kindness from our teacher and Ulrike Munindra. These intentions are called the declaration of love, and he taught me these statements. They go like this: may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you attain nirvana. Or rather, he would say, may you attain nibbana. If that concept nirvana does not have any specific meaning or any meaning at all to you, you could repeat, may you live in peace, may you live in peace. But it is an important point that you should develop your own your own declaration of love, and that is a declaration that makes the utmost meaning to you. Find the words that make much meaning to you, and alternatives could be, may you be in good health, may you be free from anxiety, may you be free from depression, whatever makes sense to you. Whatever reflects a universal goodness and unconditional goodness. And it's good to have more than one statement. I mean, the example I just mentioned here, there are three. You could have more, but at least three. They all have the same meaning, but they are helpful to develop to activate your intuition of the meaning of the intention, the intuition of this unconditional goodness. And the statements should be very short, so they don't turn into long thoughts which might wander with your mind. So they should be very short and concise to develop your concentration as well. This meditation, it is basically a samatha meditation. It is basically just a samatha meditation. And it has the side effect also of developing your concentration. But it is a very special samatha meditation because the object of it is the ethical foundation of the Buddha's teaching. The intention, the attitude, the feeling of love and kindness. So Joseph will expand on the importance of love and kindness in the Buddha's teaching, in the Dharma speech tonight. Now I'll guide you through metta meditation. I'll just say some catchwords as we go along, and some of you who are already trained in this meditation will perhaps find it a little annoying that I interrupt your meditation, but others will find it very useful, so please put up with it. This is what I call a learning sequence. You start out with a very dear person, then you meditate on yourself, and then you will, in this sequence, you will meditate on a number of ordinary dear persons. And then at a later session we can go into meditating on a neutral and a hostile person. If you don't have a practice of loving kindness already, I recommend you to use the standard formulation here. Then when you go back to your room or tonight, you can work with a formulation of your declaration of love that just suits you perfectly, and then use that afterwards. Has somebody had a question? Yeah.
Will you just repeat the 3 ones that Munindra said to you?
May you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you attain to Nibbana. It doesn't give any meaning to you, may you live in peace. But Nirvana, that is the irreversible mental liberation. So that's the highest happiness. But let's do the meditation. So first we will meditate on the breathing for like 5 minutes just to get collected. And then I'll guide you along. For some of you it'll be easy to visualize, and for others it'll be difficult. But don't worry, it doesn't matter that the image moves, or if it is very weak, as long as you know who the person you are visualizing is. That's the important thing. And the more concentrated you become, the more the image of the person, the visualization, settles down. So be patient. And then bring to mind the image of such a dear person I just talked about. Focus in on just the portrait of the person. Try not to get too many biographical details into the image, otherwise it will be difficult to fixate it. And then reflect on some lovable qualities in that person. And then, with the inner voice of your mind, repeat the intention of loving kindness with a felt sense of the meaning of every word. May you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you live in peace, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you live in peace. So we'll meditate in 10 minutes on the repetition of the intention of loving kindness directed towards the visualization. And then stop repeating the intention and let go of the image. And in order to punctuate the transition to the preceding meditation, repeat the intention of loving kindness towards all living beings. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. May all live in peace. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. May all live in peace. For about a minute. And then direct the intention towards yourself. And now there's no visualization, and the intention may sound like this. I want to be happy. I want to be free from suffering. I want to live in peace. I want to be happy. I want to be free from suffering. I want to live in peace. So we will meditate in 10 minutes on the intention of loving kindness directed towards ourselves. And it is important that the intention is not repeated mechanically, but that you do get in contact with the meaning of every word, with the unconditional meaning of the intention. And then start repeating the intention directed towards yourself. And in order to punctuate the transition to the preceding meditation, do the meditation on all living beings. May all be happy. And in the next meditation, meditate on various ordinary dear persons in your life. If a parent was not your primary dear person, then the parent is included in the category of ordinary dear person. But it could be neighbors, working colleagues, could be some of the person you're sharing your room with here at the retreat. Anyone you have this feeling of loving kindness towards to a certain degree, to any degree. And in order to increase the psychological intimacy, try to use the person's name in each statement. May you be happy, Henry. May you be free from suffering, Henry. May you live in peace, Henry. And meditate on each person for about 2 minutes.
There's one particular teaching of the Buddha's that has profound implications for how we live our lives. This is when he said that what we frequently think about and reflect upon becomes the inclination of our minds. Whatever we frequently think about and reflect upon becomes the inclination of our minds. So on the one hand, this seems very obvious. We create certain habit patterns of mind. In terms of neuroscience, we're deepening the neural pathways just by repetitive thought patterns and emotional patterns. And with each repetition, whatever they may be, whether wholesome or unwholesome, becomes the inclination of our mind. We're led into that pattern again and again. So although this seems exceedingly obvious that this would be the case, I think very often in the busyness of our lives, we're not paying attention to the consequence of this teaching. We're just going about our lives, acting out our various conditionings, not realizing that it's not simply a thought or a mood or an emotion in the moment, but it actually is creating a pattern. And it's easier then for that same pattern to happen again. So Uffe led us this morning, or this afternoon, in the guided metta meditation. And as he mentioned, this is one aspect of right thought, the development of loving kindness. So metta means loving kindness, it means benevolence, it means the feeling of goodwill. And we need to understand that the practice of metta, the practice of loving kindness, is not only something we cultivate for other people, it's also what we cultivate in terms of our relationship to our own inner experience. Can we develop a heart-mind of friendliness for everything, for all those limitless beings that arise within us? Well, this is really the fullness of metta practice. The Buddha spoke to this very directly. He said, neither mother nor father nor any other relative can do oneself as much good as one's own well-directed mind. So we have a resource within ourselves to do the most possible good for ourselves and for others. And that is training ourselves, practicing a well-directed mind. So I want to read the Buddha's words on metta. This is from the Metta Sutta, the discourse on loving kindness, because he points very directly to the quality that we're cultivating. And it's really beautiful. So this is the Buddha's Sutta, the discourse on metta. In gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downward to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. This love is not given because of who we are. It's not because of position or wealth or status or intelligence or appearance. It's not given based on any condition whatsoever, other than the fact that we're fellow human beings. And this is the great embracing power of metta, of loving kindness. It simply wishes well. It's good wishes, good will for all beings. Although we derive great benefit from this practice, the feeling of metta, as we're practicing and as we're expressing it, is not seeking anything in return. This feeling of love is not seeking self-benefit. It's the simple wish for ourselves and for others to be happy. It's not dependent on anything. And this is its great power. Its expansiveness comes from the understanding that it doesn't make distinctions between beings like love with attachment or love with desire does. So we may feel close to, or we may desire one person, or two people, or 5 people, or 10 people. But I don't think anyone here desires everybody in the world. It's impossible. Because desire, the love of desire, doesn't have the capacity to embrace all beings. It is by definition and by experience limited to a few. Metta, on the other hand, has precisely that ability to embrace all. And that's why it's called one of the immeasurables. It cannot be measured. It is possible for us to really have the wish, the deep, heartfelt wish, may all be happy. May all be at peace. So that's a remarkable quality of the heart and mind. It's a quality that can and will, with practice, embrace all beings. When I was doing metta practice intensively for a time in India, it's when Uffe and I were both staying at the Burmese Vihara in Bodh Gaya. I had just come back to India from the States, and I just had this strong feeling that I could use some practice of loving kindness. I felt that lack. So I asked Munindraji to teach me, and he outlined the practice as we've begun this afternoon. There was one point in the practice that was hugely transforming for my understanding of what's possible in the nature of relationships. And it came about when I came up to, in the sequence of people, I came to the neutral person. And at first when Munindraji told me, well, send metta to a neutral person, I wasn't even quite sure what he meant. And then he said, well, somebody you just don't have any feelings about one way or another. Well, there was an old Indian gardener at this place we were staying. And I realized, and I was quite shocked to realize, that this was a person I saw every single day and had absolutely no feeling about. He could have been a post in the ground for all that I was relating to him. So this was shocking, just to see, there could be that level of disconnect from somebody who I saw every day. So he became my neutral person all day long, every day for a long time. May you be happy, may you be free of suffering, may you be at peace. He became my love object. Every time I saw him, it's like my heart just lit up. What was amazing to me, and it's an understanding that has stayed with me all these years, was the realization that how we feel about other people is up to us. It doesn't really depend on their behavior. It doesn't depend on how they are. It doesn't depend how they're treating us. how we feel about someone is completely up to us. So this understanding of metta, that how we feel about people is really up to us, has very important implications for how we practice Vipassana. When we start moving into the Vipassana practice, where we're open to all kinds of experiences in the body, experiences in the mind, some are pleasant, some are painful, a whole range of experiences, how we respond to any of them is up to us. Can we develop that heart, that attitude of loving kindness, of loving care for whatever arises, and particularly for the difficult experiences which everyone goes through? So I'll just share with you one story. I was teaching a retreat just after 9/11, on the attack on the World Trade Center. And I was teaching it near New York. So you can imagine what was going on then. It was horrific. And came to the part of the retreat of teaching metta. And there were a lot of people from New York there, and we got to, the benefactor and the friendly person, neutral person, to the enemy. There was no way these people were going to be sending metta to those people flying those planes into the towers. It was inconceivable to them that they could wish happiness to those people. So it really made me reflect, because it was a powerful time, and the emotions were so raw and deep. So it made me reflect, well, what does metta mean in this situation? Is it really boundless, or is there a boundary? Is there some people who we just cannot send metta to? And it took me a while to think about this and reflect on it. And I realized that it would be possible for metta to include everyone with a slight adjustment of what the wish is. Yes, to say, may you be happy, that is not going anyplace. But in that situation, in that most intense situation, if we express the wish, may you be free of hatred. May you be free of enmity. Right? The very mind states that cause, and that cause is, all of these horrible actions. Is there anybody that we would exclude from this wish? May you be free of hatred. I don't think so. We could wish that for everyone. May all be free of hatred. May all be free of enmity. That is the expression of metta. So in different situations, and that's a very extreme one, but even in the more, the details of your personal lives as you're working with different people, find the expression that's meaningful for that situation. And it's very powerful to realize that, yes, metta is boundless. So the recollection and the practice that we're doing of the metta, of the loving kindness, really transforms how we are in the world, how we are with ourselves.